Has Sauce, I know the two all-pro things, first team, no one's done it to start their career. I got it. What have you done for me lately? He was not good enough last year for me to feel comfortable with paying him that money.
Hello and welcome to Gangs All Here. My name is Ryan Sampson. That's my guy, Frankie Vittorini from U Stadium. Today is Thursday, June 26th. We're going to do an episode, Frankie, talking about the New York Jets as always. Listen, this is a slow time of year with the offseason. We're not here at training camp. We finished mandatory minicamp a couple weeks ago. And, there's still some things happening with this Jets team that I think we should address and talk about that Jets fans are probably discussing as well. But before we get to any of those things, man, I ask this always. How are you doing? How are you feeling on this fine, cloudy, hot Thursday afternoon?
You know why, Ryan? That's why I love doing shows with you. You're a great guy. You always ask how you're doing. You don't just dive in. You care genuinely about how people are doing, which is, what I love about you. I'm doing well, man. I'm doing well. Life is good. On the sports front, with the Jets specifically, it's boring. Very boring time. Really not much going on, but I'm doing well. How about yourself? How you doing?
I'm good, man. It's a grind right now this time of year where you're trying to make content happen, and I think these are always fun episodes because you get to be a little more free-flowing, and it's not just, hey, we're talking about the game or, hey, we're talking about XYZ news. We're just going to talk about Jets and some stuff that we noticed. So the first thing I want to hit on here is we did get a little bit of news this week. Woody Johnson, Jets owner, bought a 43% stake in the Crystal Palace Football Club over in England. $254 million he purchased in this investment for Crystal Palace Soccer Club. So he's getting involved in a soccer franchise. It doesn't shock me, Frankie, considering this is a man who served as the ambassador for the UK, over 5 years ago, 6 years ago. He had a 4-year run under Trump's first term. But it's really a question for Jets fans. Is there a red flag here? And should Jets fans be concerned that Woody is taking interest in a football club in England and not so much focused on the Jets right now?
Well, listen, I'll say this. First off, it must be nice to be able to just spend $254 million to buy almost half of a team, right? That's nice. Nice lifestyle he got going on there. But I'll say this. You can look at this one of two ways. One way you can look at this is Woody Johnson is a businessman. He has relationships. There's been speculation that he's very close with this John Texter fellow over there in London who's American. He's an American businessman. And Woody was almost doing him a favor, saying, hey, they couldn't apparently qualify for this Europa League because John Texter has multiple levels of ownership in other teams. They needed another director, and Woody Johnson sort of did him a favor. And this is what business people do. Not a big deal. Move on. But I'm looking at this from the other side. You know me, I like my little storylines and drama going on behind the scenes and what this could mean long-term for the Jets. And as a fan myself and yourself, I think Woody Johnson has this liking or has this eye on that city of London. I really do. I think because if you look at what Woody Johnson's done in London, outside of serving as the ambassador to the UK, which was primarily stationed in London, Woody tried to buy a bid into Chelsea.
Correct.
Now, what does Chelsea and Crystal Palace FC have in common? They are 2 of 7 Premier League teams that are located in London. So what this is telling me a little bit is Woody Johnson's liking his London, man. He might be wanting either to move there. Maybe he doesn't want the Jets to be a primary focus of his. He wants to start dealing with his business interests in London. Or other people are even suggesting, is he trying to do something with the Jets in London? Are they maybe, I don't want to say move the team there, but what is this with London? You see now the Jets have a home game in London. The Jets were in London last year. So, I mean, what's going on here really with London specifically? There's only 7, Ryan, Premier League teams in London. He tried to buy a bid into Chelsea. That failed. Now he has his bid, and he's a high shareholder. 43% people don't think it's a lot of equity. It is. 43% is a ton. So what is Woody Johnson thinking when it comes to London? And I think there's a lot more there than people are speculating as to, oh, it's a typical businessman, move, and he has no interest. I think he has a big interest in London, Rye.
I hear you, Frankie. The thing that does interest me about the Woody Johnson purchase is that I do fear the move to London for the Jets franchise. We both know the NFL has been desperate to take their product global. I mean, they have so many international games. The first game of the season last year was in Brazil. I think it's repeating again this year in Spain, right? Or something like that. I mean, it's just they want a team in London. They want a team in England because it's a 6-hour plane ride. It's a team that they can be like, all right, now we're international officially as a product. And yeah, there's the ties to London for Woody Johnson. And it's clear he's invested in that city. He's invested in that town. And this only furthers that point. That's my only concern is if he would actually one day take the Jets and move them to London. And also the Jets, I think, are declared as the official team of UK. I think I've seen that before, right? Is that correct? Like they have been declared as
something like that.
Yeah.
So unofficial.
But official.
Yeah, they have a ton of fans there.
So they have a big fan base there in London. They're playing there constantly every single year. It seems like the Jets are always taking a trip to London to play a game over there. That would be my concern as a fan of this team. As for anything else, though, Frankie, this just seems like a business deal for him. Like I think other owners invest in these other sporting clubs because they have the money and they can do it. I always look at Stan Kroenke. The guy owns like how many different professional sports teams. What's his face? Harris over with the Washington Commanders. He owns the 76ers as well. There's a lot of ownership that dive into different ownership groups for different sports. I think it's just another smart way to invest your money and to make a nice return because the sporting leagues and owning a team right now is the niche thing. It feels like in sports is I'm going to go buy a team. I mean, look, the Lakers just sold for what? $10 billion? And you never thought the Lakers would ever sell. You never thought Jeannie Buss would ever sell. And they sold. So it's just that niche thing now where it's like if you're in that elite group, yeah, go invest more in a different sport and buy up some ownership in another league.
Yeah, and I think, you and I, we think about this a little differently. You're right. Overall, it's a business move. This is what business people do. They go out, they diversify their investments, they try their best to, get their portfolio as profitable as possible. My issue with this is the Jets right now are in a big transition. We're off of this Aaron Rodgers thing. Crap's kind of hitting the fan a little bit, right? Like Woody Johnson's got to get this team right. Ryan, this team's in a very, I don't think we realize the spot the Jets are in. We're at rock bottom, like we've been saying. We were saying in our post games, we've hit rock bottom, Ryan. We're here. Mm-hmm. You see how hot it is outside? It really feels like rock bottom right now. We need to figure out a way to take our best steps forward and get this franchise breathing again. Get them above water. This team does not have the luxury to have an owner thinking about doing things in other cities, in other countries with other teams. He has to get this right. Why is he doing this now? It could have been a favor, but the timing, you got a lot on your plate here, Woody. If you care that much about the Jets, I mean, time is money, right? Maybe not to these people, but I'm just saying they got to figure this thing out, right? This isn't a great time. I didn't like this news. A lot of Jet fans kind of scoffed over it. I didn't. I thought it was a big deal. I really did, for a lot of reasons.
I mean, he's probably setting up for Brick Johnson to run the Jets now. No, I'm just kidding. Listen, I think
he might. It makes sense, honestly.
I think Woody is taking a back step now. Instead, he was the active owner last year, which got them in this trouble already. He was too active in the franchise. This is good news. Take a step back. Let Aaron Glenn run the ship. This had Woody Johnson's fingers all over it. Would you rather be a Cowboys fan and have Jerry Jones running everything every single day? That hasn't worked out at all. When ownership is heavily involved in football decisions, it never works out. Always the best owners, the ones that stay in the background, supply the financials wherever they need to, support the GM, support the head coach, believe in your leadership group, and let them run the football team. That's what the Jets are doing with Aaron Glenn and Darren Muji. Let them run the football team. Let Aaron Glenn run this program. Let him change the culture. Let's start winning football games, playing football the way it's supposed to be played. And I think that's what he's trying to do. I think he's taking a step back and showing interest in other things, and that's fine. Let him take his way. By the way, 43%, whatever it is, he's not going to be running the day-to-day at Crystal Palace. Let's be real. He's just going to be over there going to the games. He's still going to be in tune with the Jets and what's going on there, but he's letting Aaron Glenn run the ship, and I think that's where we got to leave it at that point, and we'll see. We'll see how it develops over the years. I did think it was kind of like a non-starter news. The only thing I would be worried about is if we get news like in a year or two and Woody's like, hey, we're getting out of this MetLife deal and we're moving the team over to London. That's when you get really scared as a Jets fan.
Well, I was going to ask you, do you think that's even a possibility?
And at this point, I wouldn't rule it out.
Interesting.
I wouldn't rule it out.
So you would say what? There's a 10% chance, 5, or there is a chance. It's not. A lot of fans think it's impossible, right? A lot of fans think there's no way that the team's going to move to London. That's ridiculous. I mean, we've been speaking about this now for a bit about a team going to Europe, and it looks like we're right in line potentially to be the favorites
this year, 2025. The New York Jets have a lease agreement with MetLife Stadium that includes an opt-out clause, which they can exercise this year. If the Jets were to decide to exercise this option, they would need to provide the state with 12 months' notice in order to do that. However, with the opt-out, building a new stadium, which is estimated to take several years, would likely prevent the Jets from going anywhere before 2030, the end of the first renewal period. He might have already told them. We don't know. Like, I feel like that news would have already broken already. But again, I feel like it would have broke already if we got wind that the Jets were going to move to London. But maybe I wouldn't rule it out. Frankie, let's all move on to the next topic here. The New York Post here, we did a fun Mount Postmore series on Post Sports Plus. Please subscribe if you get an opportunity. They got a lot of great insights and news. That series is really fun if you want to look back in the history of all the local New York sports franchises. And, of course, we did one for the New York Jets, where we polled all of our NFL writers and contributors. And for the New York Jets, the top 4 greatest players all time in franchise history, they went with this current list. Joe Namath, easy number 1. Including Joe Namath was Curtis Martin, recently inducted into the Hall of Fame, Don Maynard, and Joe Klecko. Now, Jets fans might have taken some ill will towards that list and said, I think you left a key member off that Mount Rushmore, or we call this Mount Postmore. For you, Frankie, how would you have put your Mount Postmore together for the New York Jets of all time?
Well, listen, man, this is a tough one. I agree wholeheartedly 100% with Joe Namath and Don Maynard. I couldn't agree more. I think those are set in stone right there. Where I would differ, and I thought I would just differ with the Joe Klecko pick, and I would substitute Joe Klecko with somebody he played with. I'd put Mark Gastineau in there. I think, listen, I know Mark Gastineau had a troubled history here, rubbed a lot of people the wrong way, ruffled a lot of feathers, however you want to describe it. I know everything that we all know about. We all know about everything Mark Gastineau did. We know. But when you look at him on the field, him leading the league in sacks twice, should have won Defensive Player of the Year, had 22 sacks in a year, had 20 sacks in another year, was All-Pro 4 years in a row, first team 3 in a row. You cannot look at what Mark Gastineau did, and in many ways, Mark Gastineau changed the way that edges play, changed the way that edges celebrated sacks. He really shattered what a lot of people had previously thought about with that position specifically. He did it before Lawrence Taylor. He did it before, in many ways, Reggie White. Mark Gastineau changed a lot about the way that the NFL looks at that position today. And the numbers back it up. 107.5 sacks for his career. You gotta, in my opinion, when you look at it from the outside in and how successful that team was, let's not make it seem like that team wasn't successful. In many ways, that team should have went to a Super Bowl. They should have maybe won a Super Bowl. They were favorites in one playoff run. I would put Gastineau in there over Klecko. I think Klecko got a little bit. It was unfortunate what happened to him towards the end of his career because he had to deal with injuries. If he didn't, I would have kept Klecko there. But I think Gastineau changed the way that we think about the edge position. And then the other position I want to go to, and this is tough for me because I love Curtis Martin. Love Curtis. I went to Canton. I drove 6 hours, 5 hours, 4. I don't know how long I drove. I drove a long time to go see Curtis' Hall of Fame induction speech in Canton, Ohio. Curtis is awesome. I met Curtis before. Great, great guy. There's a better all-time Jet than Curtis that deserves to be on there, and a Jet that is homegrown, and that is Darrelle Revis. Darrelle Revis deserves to be on there. I'm not gonna go nuts about either pick, about Gastineau and Revis. I think it's all close there between Curtis, Klecko, Gastineau, Revis. But I think Darrelle Revis deserves to be on there. Curtis Martin, it always pained me that he was drafted as a Patriot. Does have the total numbers, but in terms of him being the best at his position, you can maybe point to a year, if that, the year he edged out Sean Alexander by a yard to win the rushing title. But I still think there were running backs at that point that were better than Curtis. Nobody in the league was better than Darrelle Revis. And arguably, nobody ever covered wide receivers during a 2.5, 3-year span like Darrelle Revis did. Nobody. Darrelle Revis is the best cover corner in his prime ever in NFL history. And to be honest, I don't think it's close. So I have Revis up there, and I'm going to give it to Gastineau over Klecko because of how he changed the position at edge.
I hear you on both accounts. My retort would be, I agree with you. Darrelle Revis should have been on this list. He's the greatest cornerback I've ever seen play football. I wasn't alive. I mean, I was alive, but I didn't watch football at 2 or 3 years old to know what Deion Sanders was and what he was doing in the NFL. But for me, Darrelle Revis easily has to be on this Mount Rushmore list because he is transitional. I mean, he was the best. He was the best in the sport. It wasn't even close.
Yep.
He locked down some of the best receivers all time, and he did it at a high level. And he was our player, and he was originally drafted by the Jets. Darrelle Revis should be on there. I would take Joe Klecko off. So for me, it would be Joe Namath. It would still be Curtis Martin because he was my favorite player growing up. Made me fall in love with the New York Jets was Curtis Martin. That guy was a stud for the Jets. Carried the offense when he needed to. You can always give him the ball. He was a true bell cow running back. Darrelle Revis would be 3, and then I would obviously keep Don Maynard on there as 4. That'd be my Mount Postmore. So yeah, I just think that Darrelle Revis should have been on there. I think a lot of times when they make these lists, they love the old history of the teams. I think you kind of have to honor what happened here recently. And for Darrelle Revis to do it at the highest level against some of the best receivers that the NFL's ever seen, like Randy Moss, like Chad Ochocinco, you got to respect that name, and you got to keep, in my opinion, you got to keep Darrelle Revis on that list for the Mount Postmore. Speaking of cornerbacks, the Jets.
Oh, please.
Yeah, listen. They have the opportunity, Frankie.
I knew where you were going.
That's right, man.
I knew where you were going.
The Jets have an opportunity here to extend Sauce Gardner and Garrett Wilson, who are both going in their 4th seasons with the New York Jets. And at this point in time, we've seen a lot of corners get paid. We're seeing receiver money go through the roof. Jamar Chase just got a $40 million deal this offseason per year. How are you feeling? You've been very adamant about one player not getting paid on this Jets team, but I want to toss it to you and see what you have to say about Garrett and Sauce getting new money.
Listen, man, I've been discussing this a lot. We discussed it in our in-person with Kaz, which was great, by the way. Shout outs to you all for putting that together. That was fun. Talked about it on Jake's show. I've talked about it online. I did a tidbit on it, whatever. I'm going to stick with my guns on this, and I'm not backing down. I don't care. I've been getting ridiculed. Mm-hmm. I've been getting called out. I don't care at this point. I'm sticking with my guns. Pay Garrett Wilson, make him a top 10 paid wide receiver, get him top 7 paid wide receiver.
Top
I think it'll
7?
be worth it. you're looking at how the market projects out. So if he's the seventh highest, he'll probably be right outside the top 10 in 2, 3, 4 years. So that it makes sense to pay him there so he stays around there because he might want another extension later on. So kind of overpay him to a degree. I think it's worth it due to the fact of how the market appreciates. It just is what it is. Why, you don't think that's a good idea? I mean, if you make him the 12th highest paid receiver or 13th, right, he's going to end up falling down if he keeps delivering like he has to 16, 17, and then he's going to want another deal. You know how these receivers,
Yeah, I mean,
you know,
keep paying him as long as he keeps performing, in my opinion. This is a big year for Garrett. I want to pay Garrett. Garrett's been a warrior for the Jets. He's gone through the worst quarterback play you could possibly go to start your career. Top 7's a lot, man. Sure. I mean, if that's what it's going to be, that's what it's going to be because it seems like it's the quarterback money. Like, just because you're the next one up, like now you get the next big deal. But no one's getting Jamar Chase. I mean, Jamar Chase was the best receiver in football last year and deservedly so, got a $40 million deal. I'm not going that high, though, for Garrett. If I'm looking at the list right now in the NFL, the top 10 right now, Jamar Chase 1, Justin Jefferson 2, if you want to look average per year, Jamar's making $40 million. Justin Jefferson's making $35 million, so that's a $5 million difference. CeeDee Lamb's making $34 million as number 3. DK Metcalf got a new deal. He's making $32.9 million. A.J. Brown's got $32 million. Amon-Ra St. Brown's making $30. Tyreek's making $30. Brandon Ayuk's making $30. T. Higgins is making $28.75. I would say he slots in Garrett right after A.J. Brown in that Amon-Ra, even though I think Amon-Ra is a better receiver, Amon-Ra, Tyreek Hill range right there. $30 million.
Yeah.
I feel like
and that's around 7, right?
Yeah, it
7,
is.
8.
Yeah, you're right. It's around 7 or 8. So I mean, that's where the deal is most likely going to fall in that range. I mean, could you be shocked if he ends up at 33, 34? No, because there's probably a New York Jets tax that he's going to ask for, which it's understandable. It's like, hey man, I've been doing the dirty work for you guys and haven't really supported me with the best quarterback play. I could see him negotiating that way.
I can too. And I think, listen, it's all also, you have to put in perspective the fully guaranteed. We're going strictly off AAV. So you can play around with that a little bit where you can get him, let's say, a deal that might not be considered a top 10 wide receiver deal. If you put it in totality, you may want to give him lesser years with a higher AAV. I think the guy deserves it, though. At the end of the day, I think the productions he's had with the quarterbacks he's played with and the offenses he's had to deal with, Garrett Wilson's been a stud since he's been here, and he's always done the right thing. And I trust him wholeheartedly to make the right decisions on and off the field. I just do. Where I don't, and I don't feel this way, and I'm not gonna I hate saying it like this, but I'm not gonna pretend to because I'm a Jets fan. I think Sauce has to prove it for another year.
That's crazy.
Last year, Rye, he was not very good on the field.
So your version of not very good is where I think you're a little too hard on him. His version of his version of not very good was still one of the top 5 corners or top 6 corners in the NFL.
I couldn't disagree anymore.
So you're telling me you're taking Stingley, Horn, Ramsey, Surtain, and Terrell all over him?
I'm not saying I'm taking them over him. I'm saying
that's what we're talking about here.
But Jeff fans always have the claim, and it's wrong, that Sauce Gardner was a great corner last year. He was not. You want to go on PFF? He was 46th. You want to talk about we watch every play, you and I. Did he make one play, Sauce, last year? One play that changed the course of a game.
Against the Colts,
Once.
He made the interception.
At the end, right, off that, it was like a punt. Didn't really change the game much. It was kind of like a give-me interception.
Yeah,
His only one in the last 2 years, by the way.
That was his one play.
But I'm saying, Rye, like, don't you want more? What has Sauce? I know the two all-pro things, first team. No one's done it to start their career. I got it. What have you done for me lately? He was not good enough last year for me to feel comfortable with paying him that money. And I have other reasons too. I think the kid needs to grow up a little bit. I've spoken about that. I'm not going to get more into that. That's my opinion. People disagree. Whatever.
Yeah, I don't agree with that one either.
Yeah. Well, you know,
he's done nothing wrong off the field.
Hey, go on Twitter when you have a chance, and I'm saying this, and I hate saying this.
Frankie, it's social media. Would you
Look
rather
at the stuff that he has said on streams? Look at the people he's sometimes.
Let me ask you a
surrounded
question.
with. I'm worried a little about him.
People are willing to go head over heels for Tyreek Hill because of how much of a game changer he is. The headaches off the field, though, that ain't worth it. And guess what? He's getting paid top dollar. Like,
Saw saying Tyreek Hill on the field.
All right, but he's a top 5 corner in the NFL. You cannot name 5 corners better than him right now.
I can't, but it's possible. It's possible. But right, just because you're the 4th or 5th best corner in this NFL today with the corners we have out there, of which I don't think any are that great, considering some of the corners we've seen.
Stingley's
that doesn't
great.
mean Stingley has to do it another year, though. Sertan
be great.
But
he already got paid, though. That's what I'm trying to say. They paid him because they believe in him. And again, fully guaranteed, he's only getting 48. He's getting total guarantee $89 million. Like, they locked him up and said, yes, next 6 years, next 5 years, we're gonna believe in you. Same thing with J.C. Horn. J.C. Horn got $100 million. He got $70 million guaranteed. What I'm trying to say to you, Frankie,
both those teams though have comparable offensive structures and quarterback play where they can say those teams, let's give a corner that much money to
who's
to
the quarterback for the Jets right now?
Nobody. That's my problem. My problem is we have bigger fish to fry than to pay a corner $30 million.
I could not disagree more.
We have to worry about
if you're going to draft a quarterback this upcoming year, which the Jets are going to do. I got news for everyone. They're going to draft a quarterback in the first round this upcoming year.
Yeah, probably.
They're going to because they need to take a developmental quarterback to sit behind Justin Fields next year if he's back next year. You should be working on building your core of your team. Sauce Gardner is a core of your team. And if you really don't believe that, Frankie, then you should be trading him now. Don't even bother letting him play this year. Because if you truly don't believe in him long term, don't even have him on the roster. Because that's what you're talking about right now. You're saying, I need to see it for another year. Clearly, you don't believe. But you're also saying right now at this time that you don't believe in investing him long term for the future. Which means you don't believe in the long term.
If Sauce Gardner was on the Texans, I think paying him makes sense. We, next year, getting a rookie quarterback in here, most likely, we have to give him a running back. We have to give him maybe another wide receiver. We might want to invest in a tight end. They may want to look at the offensive line market. I don't know where they're going to look. You got to get that quarterback support. If you have all this money tied up, it's a salary cap league. You're going to be in some issues.
Frankie,
Ryan, they're going to have to pay. They're going to pay Garrett. They're going to maybe look at paying Jermaine. AVT has a deal pending. We have a young roster. Yeah. Eventually, these guys. Breece wants money this year.
Breece ain't getting paid. The Jets aren't paying Breece Hall. I got news for everyone.
Well, you better hope Braelon Allen is Derrick
Henry's
little
another
brother
running back.
there.
You can draft another running back just like anyone else. You can always draft another running back in the draft and find some other running backs. Let's be real. The running back is the last thing you need to focus on right now on this roster.
I tend to agree there, but I
think Frankie, I'm going to put you on the spot, man. Like, I don't agree with this take at all. I don't think it's a good take.
Most people don't.
I think it's a really bad take. Like, I think to be honest with you, Sauce Gardner is a foundational piece that most teams would kill for to be building their defense around. And you don't have a quarterback invested with money right now. And even if you did draft a quarterback in the first round, it doesn't cost you much asset-wise and money-wise to draft a quarterback in the first round. So it's not going to kill you when you build the rest of your team out. In fact, that's when you're supposed to pay the rest of your players at premium positions, which guess what, Frankie? You need a corner one if you want to win in the NFL. Most teams need a corner to lock down other wide receivers if you want to win football games. Look at some of the best teams. They have really good young corners they can believe in, and that's what Sauce Gardner is. And if you don't believe in that, like you don't, then you should be cutting your losses right now and trading him away for a high first-round pick and 2 first-round picks if you can, because that's what you can get back for a Sauce Gardner right now. I just think it's crazy to say he's not worth the money. And listen, if you wanted to make the argument to me that you shouldn't pay Sauce Gardner right now because you have another 2 years of control, I would understand that and say, hey, let me push it back another year because I'd rather see another year, but I know I can believe in him long term, and I actually will. That's fine. That's fine. But you are coming across as saying he's immature, he's not ready to get paid, and you actually don't believe that he's a good corner because you think last year he actually got exposed. That's what I'm getting from you.
Listen, there nothing is catastrophic. I don't think he's a bad guy. I don't think he's a terrible, man-to-man corner. I don't think he can't get interceptions. It's a culmination of all these little things with him that make me feel uneasy about investing money in a corner that isn't going to help a team that can't freaking score points on Sunday.
I hate that you're doing this, man. Stop tying.
Let me ask you a question.
Stop tying the offense into the defense. Stop tying the offense into the defense.
The Eagles won the Super Bowl with 2 rookie corners that they drafted the year before.
Two high draft picks. High draft picks. That's fine.
Listen, you know what? Actually, I'm not going to say it. Actually, I'm going to say it. There's going to be, I have a feeling, I told you so moment when this contract goes through and the way it plays out. I can see it with Sauce.
It feels incredibly negative, man. It feels incredibly negative.
It's not negative. I want to build a better team. I don't think
you don't think Sauce Gardner is a good part of a good team.
No, we haven't won more than 7 games with this guy.
He's been part of a top 5 defense 2 out of the 3 years, Frankie. What are you talking about?
It's a defense that was coached by a defensive coordinator.
What is Aaron Glenn?
Player. I don't care about a top 5 defense. I care about a top 5 team.
What is happening right now?
What do you mean what is happening?
A top 5 defense helps you win football games. What am I missing here?
Games. It didn't help us win football games.
Because the offense was a mess, which has nothing to do with the defense. The defense was terrible on the run defensive part. That has nothing to do with Sauce Gardner. Yeah, he's bad at tackling, but that is nothing to do.
There's only a certain amount of money, Ryan. You want to? All right, let's give everyone $30 million deals.
What are you talking about? What are you talking about?
It's a salary. Do you know it's a salary cap sport?
Yes,
do people know
everyone
this?
gets $30 million deals. Everyone is a first-team All-Pro, first 2 years of their career. I'm sorry, Where was Jamie Sherwood a first pro all first 2 years? Where was Quincy Williams at all pro his first 2 years? Where was Quinton Williams who's all pro his first 2 years? Where were all these guys? Jermaine Johnson, you think he's worth a new contract? Where was he all pro his first 2 years of his career? Frankie, there is a massive difference when you're talking about a player.
We're talking about making him the highest paid corner is just my question. I would wait a year. I don't know why this is a hot take. I don't know why people not saying you, I'm saying online are getting in their feelings about this. I want to see it one more year with the guy. Garrett, I don't need to see it. Why is that crazy?
It's crazy.
I don't understand. All right, cool.
It's crazy, man.
I disagree.
It's crazy. Teams would be lining up for Sauce Gardner to be on their team right now. They all know he's one of the best corners. All right. Let's move over to the next thing, Frankie. Teron Armstead recently retired. We actually had him here in studio. We talked to him for a little bit, but he went on Good Morning Football as well. Good Morning America, I should say. And he was asked about the best 1-2 punch in the NFL at the running back position. And he had an interesting take here about the New York Jets, saying that they could be the potential and that they will have the best 1-2 running back punch in the NFL with Breece and Braelon Allen. Your thoughts?
Listen, man, to be a little positive right now, just kind of switch it up a bit. I agree with him. I really do. I think, and what he specifically said, too, was with Justin Fields running the show back there, those RPOs, man, the read option, etc., the way that this offensive line's been structured, Rye, this could be a very deadly running game. You have Breece playing off the RPO. You have Braelon coming in another year in the league, just getting better. Kid's a beast. I mean, Braelon last year, you didn't see the first defender bring that kid down once. He gets the rock, he's shedding that first tackler. No questions asked. Maybe they'll hang on to him for a bit, but you better get help or else he ain't going down. Breece has the electricity and space. There's a reason a few years ago he was looked at as the second best running back in fantasy, third. This running game could be deadly. And if they lean in on it heavy, they're going to win some football games because of it. So I'm right there with Teron Armstead. My only, trepidation with this run game is Breece's vision between the tackles. I've always questioned a bit. I think sometimes he wants to hit that.
He's a home run hitter. He's a home run hitter.
Yeah, a little too fast. He's not patient necessarily. And sometimes when he tries to be patient, he's patient at the wrong times. Kind of doesn't see it as well as some of the top backs. I'm also comparing him to the top backs in the league when I'm saying
this.
So
I think he was banged up ever since. I think Breece was banged up since that Tennessee game, believe it or not, when he took that
I
hard hit
agree
from
with you.
Jamal Adams in his quad. The thing with Breece is, and I think he's going to actually have a bounce back year just because the offense is actually going to focus on the run instead of throwing the ball 50 times with a 58-year-old quarterback who thinks he knows everything about offense. I think Breece will be the focal point of this offense. Braelon is going to be very, very important to this offense. I think they'll be smart on the goal line using the tush push with Justin Fields if they get in those situations. They'll use Braelon on short yardage situations. Use RPO. The threat of Justin Fields running is going to help both of these guys have lighter boxes, in my opinion, and also take some of the edge defenders away when they're making that read on Justin Fields because of the threat he makes. So it should open up a lot of things for Breece and Braelon. Breece is just a home run hitter. That's what he is. I don't think you should be trying to fit a square peg in a round hole here. Like, you want to make sure Breece Hall can do those things and be special on the perimeter, get him in space against defenders. One-on-one, we've seen him in running routes. He can blaze past the best running backs in coverage. He's that talented, and he's also really good at catching the ball. So I would love to see Justin Fields get the ball to Breece on screen passes, on wheel routes, get him one-on-one against a linebacker, throw him the ball, quick pitch tosses, RPOs, all of that. I think Breece can actually have a really big bounce back year, and it's not a crazy take from Tehran. I don't think the Jets will finish as the best 1-2 running back just because the Lions have the best running back tandem in the NFL, and it's not even close in my opinion. But it could be top 5. I definitely think it could be top 5 at its peak. Realistically, this Jets running back tandem will probably fall in that, 8 to 12 range when it comes to all said and done.
Really?
Yeah,
I just in total yardage.
I think we should be conservative here a little bit. Like, let's see how this offense operates at first. Let's hope they don't get pass happy. Tanner Angstrad's first time calling the plays. So, teams know that the Jets are going to try and run the ball on them. So, you got to also depend on the fact that the offensive line has to be good. Like, Joe Tippmann Tippmann needs to be better in the run game in the middle.
Definitely. And what I was going to say, sorry to cut you off there. I'm curious to see how Braelon Allen develops this year, and if Tanner Engstrand is going to be willing to say, Breece, Braylon's cooking out there. Sit down, okay? We'll bring you in when we need to bring you in. We'll bring you in on third down situations if we need you to be the dump-off option. Let's let this kid cook, because I think Braelon Allen's going to have some games, right, where we're going to be screaming at the TV, why'd you take him out? We said it last year. I hope Tanner doesn't fall down that trap. It'll happen because we complain about everything. I don't think he's going to.
Yeah.
But
I don't think he will. Sorry to interrupt, but I don't think he will. I think it's going to be like the Lions offense. They're going to get series, right? Like Jahmyr Gibbs, you're going out there for the entire series no matter what happens here, unless you need a breather.
I like that.
Same thing with Braelon Allen. You're getting the entire series here. Like, alternate series between both running backs. And then by the end of the game, if one of them's playing better than the others and they see the matchups are working out, that guy will play more. I just think that's the smart way to play here, and that's the way you have to go about it if you're Tanner Angstrad.
I agree 100%. You're right. If they can really tempo those two together and have them, like you're saying, play a drive or two here, you take over a drive there, makes sense for sure. Yeah, I think that actually, that's a great point. That makes more sense to me than them trying to utilize both of them in the same drives, like saying, oh, Breece is on the early downs and then, Braylon's on the short yardage. I'd rather do what you're saying. Let them take over their own drives and have game plans specifically in plays structured around their strengths on the field. Definitely.
All right, Frankie, let's wrap up this episode. Let's talk about our quarterback, Justin Fields. Feels like we haven't talked enough about him overall this offseason. I know when the Jets first acquired him, we were like, okay, I see this is where they were going. Aaron Glenn has a ton of respect for this guy. He's played against them a bunch as the Lions defensive coordinator when he was with the Bears. And I think he sees that there's untapped potential. And the Jets clearly are trying to make Justin Fields turn into a comeback player of the year candidate like Sam Darnold was with the Vikings, like Baker Mayfield was with the Bucs, where these are top picks that just never worked out in their previous locations. Now they're on their third, fourth different team, and now it's like, all right, let's see if we can actually unlock this guy and have them become the full potential of that high pick that we want. So I want you to give me a bold stat that you think will stand out for Justin Fields this year, and how it'll help affect this team's record.
It's a good question. So, man, I'm going to go back to what we just talked about. I mean, it's rushing yards. Let Fields run. I want to make a shirt. Let Fields or let Justin run sounds better. But let him run, man. That's his strength. Again, he has the second most yards ever for a quarterback in a single season, rushing yards. Ever. Most rushing yards ever for a quarterback in a single season. Second. Most yards per game ever. If he would have played the full year, he missed a game, he would have been top ever. More than Vic, more than Lamar, more than all these guys. Let him run, man. I'm worried because you know why I'm saying that, right? I'm looking at our depth chart, and I looked at it last night when it comes to our weapons. Man, outside of Garrett, there's nothing going on there, man.
Just Mason Taylor.
And that's it. You have Lazard, Reynolds, Corley, Arian Smith, Tyler Johnson. Come on, man. Gibson. Teams are going to line up their best players on defense to stop Garrett and Mason Taylor. They're going to hit those guys. They're going to cover them inside and out, 1 and 2, double them up where they can. Fields doesn't have the processing ability. It's not his game to be able to effectively throw for that many yards when you really only have an option. You can definitely depend on him, maybe another one. But outside of that, you're not going to get anything out of Reynolds or Lazard, really. What are you going to get realistically? I mean, you always want a guy on your roster. You can say, oh, maybe, what if? We're hoping our second option is the maybe, what if has a big year as a rookie in Mason Taylor. Injuries happen too. So, yeah.
No, it's an interesting question about the Reynolds. I think they like Reynolds. I think they think he's a great run blocker.
They do.
And I think he's a good, third down receiver, potentially possession receiver, help us move the chains a couple times. He's kind of a repeat of Allen Lazard, like we talked about with Kaz last week. It feels very repetitive, having both those guys on the team. But I think they see potentially the potential there. I agree with you, man. I think a really something I would hope for with Justin Fields, and I'm hoping they get a bunch of tush pushes with him. Give me 10 touchdowns. Give me 10 rushing touchdowns for Justin Fields this year. If he has 10 rushing touchdowns, it will be a career high for him rushing touchdowns. That year where you said he led the NFL in rushing for quarterbacks, he had 8 that year. Beat that. And I'm not talking about yards. I don't need a 1,200-yard running quarterback. I'd rather have close to 800 to 900, but give me the 10 rushing touchdowns. That means we're actually converting in the red zone and that he's making things happen in the red zone. And that, to me, would signify that this offense is taking that step of, hey, we got a special athlete, a quarterback. He can make plays with his arm. He can make plays with his legs. 10 rushing touchdowns, I'd be looking forward to seeing if Justin Fields can get into the end zone with his legs.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that. And I'll say this, pointing to that year, 2022, Fields had 1,143 yards, right? But the best part of that stat and that year is he had 65 first downs. 160 carries, 65 first downs. Do you know what that does? You have another set of downs. You move the chains. I mean, I can't remember. Have we had 65 first downs as a team the last couple of years?
Man, I mean, it feels like
that's
forever.
what I'm saying. I know, right? Just looking at a quarterback doing that just with his legs, not passing, just with his legs is something exciting. And I think something that the OC Tanner's got to go in, get to the drawing board and figure out ways to get that kid out in space because he'll make it happen.
Couldn't agree more, Frankie. Listen, that's a show. That's an episode. Got a little fiery there in the middle, but as always, I appreciate you, man, coming on with us and talking Jets football. Before you know it, we're going to have Jets training camp. We're going to get really excited. We get to see these reps. We get to see what this offense actually looks like against a defense. Put some pads on, see which guys stand out, hopefully get some training camp risers. I would love to see what the hell this – we didn't even talk about really much of the defense besides Sauce, what the hell this run defense is going to look like because it needs to be a heck of a lot better than it was last year. And then I just want to know what this defensive line is going to look like rotation-wise too. So there's definitely some big question marks.
You look excited, man. You look at you. You feel excited for the season.
Oh.
You know what, though? I'm curious. Are you excited because – I'm going to ask, are you excited because you're genuinely excited, like you think the team will be – or you're excited because you don't have to see Aaron Rodgers back here?
No. Listen, Frankie, I became a hater of Aaron Rodgers because I saw through the lies and the BS that a lot of people wouldn't want to see with Aaron Rodgers.
No, I know.
The guy was controlling the offense, and that was scary. That was him full control of the offense, something he didn't have in Green Bay. Under LaFleur, he didn't have any control of the offense. LaFleur was calling the plays. He would try and change the plays, but then he saw that LaFleur's plays were actually working and his system was working. So he said, all right, I'll play into it, which helped him win a couple MVPs. No problem with that. that was total control for Aaron Rodgers, and people don't understand how much control he really had here at this Jets franchise. I'm just happy that we got a real football mind in Aaron Glenn running the show here. He's trying to turn this into a real football program. I just want people to give him a chance. It might not be pretty at first. I don't think this offense is going to be pretty at first. It's going to be ground and pound, guys. Like, let's be real. They're going to be a lot of 3rd and 6, 3rd and 7 situations because teams stuff them on 1st and 2nd down when they're trying to run the ball. Justin Fields drops back on 3rd and 6, 3rd and 7, incomplete pass to Garrett Wilson. It's going to happen. Like, it's going to happen a lot to start the season. I'm just telling you, like, that's the script. But I think it's all about adjustments in the NFL, and I think Aaron Glenn is going to rely on that. And that's something that's going to be refreshing compared to a Robert Saleh, in my opinion, who I don't think was great at adjusting because you know this. Saleh and Ulbrich, their defense was, we're just going to play base defense. It's the same 3 or 4 coverages that we're rolling.
Bend but don't break.
Bend, don't break. We'll make some plays. We don't blitz much. We're not ultra aggressive. That was how they played football. This is going to be actual X's and O's. We're going to make adjustments. If we don't do well in this certain scheme or pattern, we'll change it up. We'll try and find the fixes and find and exploit those weaknesses from the opposing team. So I think it's going to be a vast difference from last year to this year in terms of coaching and what these guys are going to try to put these players in certain positions. So that's what makes me excited, man. Like, we get to actually break down real football instead of base defense every single time, if that makes sense.
And to that point, you're so right, man. And I think it's exciting for once to see a team that's going to grow and figure things out and learn, make mistakes, make the right decision, make the wrong decision, and grow together. Whereas Aaron Rodgers, it's his way or the highway. Mm-hmm. And if his way doesn't work, he blames other people. He blamed the running game here in New York the other day. He's shitting on the running game. You created the running game here. It was your offense. It was your OC. It was the plays you wanted to run. And you're crapping on it like you had nothing to do with it. That's Aaron Rodgers for you, point blank. You saw that, right? He comes out and he's crapping on the running game.
That's who he is.
The running game that was part of your offense. Literally, we gave the offense to you, and you're basically crapping on yourself, I guess, or your OC.
And I have to say this because this is how he wants it. He is, without a doubt, one of the greatest, if not the greatest, like, thrower of the football I've ever seen in my life. He's one of the greatest quarterbacks all time. He's made insane moments happen, and he will go down as one of the all-time greats. But last year was brutal. He ran the show, and his show was a train wreck, and it did not help the Jets at all.
Yeah.
I think it really drained a lot of these guys, and I think it just stunted the growth of a lot of these players that you would have liked to have seen take a bigger step forward. So that's why I'm excited. I think Aaron Glenn realizes that potential, and I think he's going to try and tap into that. And I won't be surprised, man, if guys have career years under Aaron Glenn this first year. That's the type of program he's going to try and establish here. So we'll see, man. We'll see. Training camp, a little bit less than a month away, man. We're almost there. We're almost there, Jets fans.
Let's go, boy. Let's go.
Be excited. Listen, Frankie and I will be here all throughout training camp. We'll have Kaz on. He'll break it all down for us. We'll continue to give us latest on insights and what's going on with this Jets football team. We'll give it your opinions, obviously, because that's how we do it here. But as always, Frankie, go Jets.